with everything going on in our government right now, I mean, regardless of where anyone stands politically, for anyone who maybe is working a government job and they're experiencing all this uncertainty, but they're in a place where they were or are thinking about purchasing, upgrading, whatever. What are things that you think that they need to consider?
Don't be stupid. As my answer, like, just don't be dumb. You know, it's just like you said, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. There's very clear initiatives being brought to the world right now, to our country right now. If you feel like you might lose your job or lose part of your income or whatever, do not go buy a new house. I'm sorry. It's an absurd concept. Be safe. Protect your future. Don't protect yourself. Protect your future, because that's where yourself is going to land. Yeah. So just be smart. You're already smart. That's why you have the cool job you have. So just now show it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I could dive into every subtle nuance, but in the end, it really just boils down to don't have shiny object syndrome. Like, just understand you have a roof over your head. Sit tight a little while. Make sure everything's evening out the way you thought. And then once you're like, yes, I'm good. Well, guess what happened? You were able to save more money. You had a lot of fun along the way, and more properties are out. And probably your dream home is going to hit the market at the exact perfect time anyway.
Yeah.
So,
might not be the best time to take risks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Especially these days, buying a home is becoming increasingly difficult for the younger generations. What price points are you seeing first-time home buyers falling into these days?
Well, that's a hard question because it depends where they are, right? Like, a first-time home buyer in D.C. is not the same as a first-time home buyer in Anne Arundel County, Maryland.
Yeah.
So I would argue that it's not so much the price point that they're landing in, it's the monthly payment they're landing in. But I will say, we went through this phase where people were like, millennials, and I don't know what the generation under millennials is called. Gen Zs. Like, oh, they just want this and want that. But then some folks actually started doing the math, and they are so much better financially prepared than generations before them. It's insane. And I think a lot of the reason is they'll live in a 800 square foot condo to make sure that they're not house poor. Where, like, my generation was like, how do I get a McMansion? I don't care what it costs. I want a McMansion because the Joneses have one and I need one too.
Yeah.
And it's just a whole different kind. This generation of first-time buyers lives on experiences. They don't live on material the same way that others did. So, yeah, there's different price points depending on where you live. I don't think that's it. I think it's like they set their mind to, if I pay this per month, I'm good because I can still travel. And not travel like I take one vacation a year. Yeah. Like, oh, I want to get up and I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to go. I want to enjoy life.
Financial freedom.
Yeah. So I think they're just, that's crazy to say. I think they're just financially smarter than a lot of generations.
Yeah. Well, the goal is always like the generations would learn from our mistakes. And, you know, but that's a really interesting take though. Yeah. As a team lead, especially, what kind of mistakes do you see rookie agents making the most often?
They think that real estate school meant they're realtors. That real estate school was a tool to teach you how to pass a test. That is not real estate. It just isn't. Like, that stuff, like, I have never said to someone, you know, you're just going to go 6 miles as the crow flies. Like, what does that even mean? Right. And where are crows? Like, it just doesn't even make sense. So, like, be a student. That's first. Be a student of actually the process of selling real estate, not just a student that passes a test. The second thing is, when you're looking for a brokerage, I realize this is going to sound obtuse, but the last thing you should be searching for or asking about are, what are your splits? That is literally absolutely irrelevant. The first thing you should be asking is, what is your marketing system and your support system? Yeah. Nothing matters more. And people, I think that what I'm working, so I should get the most money I can. Absolutely not. You've never been to college and said, how much are you going to pay me? You pay them. This is not that. This is an opportunity for you to learn. And then people say, well, I've been doing this for 2-3 years. Don't care how long you've been doing it. Yeah. What I care about is how many people have you served. So if you tell me I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years and I've sold 4 houses,
Yeah.
you're still a student.
Yeah.
Period.
Definitely.
Right? Like if you can't tell me I average 10 plus properties minimally a year, then you need to stay in student rookie mode and stop worrying about the money. Focus on the journey, the lessons, and getting better at working with the avatar that you're uniquely qualified to serve.
Definitely. Yeah.
So.
I couldn't agree more. That leads me into one I knew it was down here. So while we're speaking about teams, why should a new agent consider being a part of a team versus going solo and doing it on their own?
I think there should be a secondary test for all real estate agents to determine if they are qualified to be solo agents. I don't think any agent should be allowed to join a brokerage not on a team unless they pass the secondary exam. Mm-hmm. And the exam should all be based on honor and business savvy. That's it. Like there should be an honor exam, because a rookie agent that has the opportunity to double end a deal and screw over someone so they can make money is almost always going to pick that route. And I'm sorry, no, I wouldn't do it. I know. I'm crazy. I haven't seen it done over and over and over again. Sure. That's what's almost always going to happen. And then the other side is, like, if you don't understand how to run a business, then you shouldn't be a solo agent, because you're a business.
Yeah.
And ultimately it makes the industry look bad. But if you can become a part of a team that has the systems, the tools, the marketing, the know-how, the training, the coaching, and it's all in place, now you just spend a year learning. Just be a student for 365 days. Yeah. Number one, that year is going to fly by. Number two, you will definitely be better for it. And number three, you will forever, comparatively, make more money than you would have had you started out just trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. I tell people on the channel all the time, I've never been a real estate agent, and there's no judgment from me at all whatsoever. But I can't imagine how difficult it would be to start without going on a team. I just see from your team, all the coaching and the support and the opportunities to learn from the other agents around you. I mean, you're just magnifying the knowledge that you're getting in a shorter period of time.
Exactly. And like, I didn't start on a team, but I started my first company when I was 17 years old. Mm-hmm. So all I knew was business. Yeah. I've worked 1 year in a traditional job as an adult. All I knew was business. That's the difference. Are you a realtor or a business owner in real estate?
Yeah.
That's ultimately it. So leave the concept of, but I can make more money if I'm solo. Look, 100% of zero is still zero.
But you're going to be a better agent for it if you're just patient and open to learning for a while.
Student rookie mindset.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Why, in your opinion, should a seller be open to paying both agent compensations? So the reason it came up is I was actually doing a closing last week, and I was closing a seller, and when we got to her Alta and she saw that she was paying both the commissions, I mean, crazy that she's asking this at the table, but it's, why am I paying both? And I told her, well, it was a part of your contract. Your agent would have talked to you about this. And she's like, I don't remember, but I'm sure you're right. I offered to show her the contract. She said no. And then she's like, is this normal? I said, yes. It's very, very common for the seller to pay both of the commissions.
Yeah. So the first is the idea of, when you say to a buyer, I am not willing to cover this percent towards your buyer broker, that buyer is now put into a position where a lot of times they can't even afford your home anymore. Mm-hmm. I think what sellers have to remember is the closing costs for a buyer. It's not just the closing costs. There's a down payment involved almost every time. That is really hard for most buyers.
Yeah.
So when you tell a buyer, well, you got to put 5% down, 10% down, 20% down on a property, plus pay all this in closing costs, plus cover an agent comp, now buyers are literally priced out of the purchase.
Yeah.
The second thing to remember is that historically, this is how it's done. It's not mandated. It doesn't have to happen, but historically, this is how it's done. So I want you to think about this. I'm selling my house and I say I'm not covering the buyer comp. My neighbor's selling his house and he says I will cover the buyer comp. Which house would a buyer buy? Like, clearly my neighbor's house. It's financially, it makes more sense. Unless there's some circumstance that says pick Phil's. Most houses don't have the circumstance. So what I would say to this if I was a seller is, what's my net? Like, let's forget. The example I use is, if we are selling your house for $500,000 and I'm the listing agent and I say your total compensation is going to be 5% and I sell it for $500,000, great. But if I said your total compensation is going to be 20% and I sell it for $40 million, you're going to pay me. It's not about what you're paying. It's how much you're walking away with. Yeah. So let's figure out what really makes the most sense for a net back to you. And then let's make sure we reverse engineer everything we do to get you what you really want. And let's not get focused on what the title of it is, like buyer agent comp, seller agent comp. Who cares? Let's just make sure you get everything you came for.
Yeah, I love that.
So.
Good answer. I know it's a very nuanced question.
Yeah,
So thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Well, that's all I had for you today, Phil. Thank you so much for
I've had fun.
Rapid fire answering all of my questions, and thanks for being part of the channel.
Of course.
Really appreciate you.
Love it. Thank you.